People come to me and like, you're really good, how did you get this good? And I just say to them, years of training. Like straight up, there's no sugarcoating nothing. Like if you actually want to play basketball, you've got to be committed and just understand what you're good at and what you're not good at and just run with it. It can apply to anything. If you truly believe that you can do it, you're going to do it.
I finally get the MRI scan results and it was not good at all. I was on the phone to him. I had to specify that I was doing a marathon and then instantly he went, no. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you cannot do this half marathon.
I feel like we're taught from a young age there's a right way to go about life. There's a way you have to go. You go from school to college to uni to a full-time job. If you don't do one of them, you're considered a failure.
I heard a lot of people say university was the best days of my life. I hated that notion. Thinking, oh yeah, those are going to be the best days of my life and nothing else after that. Like that's where it ends. No, but like as a kid, I feel like you say a lot of stuff to just appease your parents, but you don't really. You can't ask an 8-year-old what they want to do, and they'll just instantly know.
Do you ever get them things at school, where you'd be in the class? I don't know how old, but they'd be like, I want to be when I'm older. And you want to copy the guy next to you, like astronaut, fireman, and you're sitting there. I don't give a shit about either. I just want to say that. Do you know what I mean?
I just want
to. Those exercises made no sense whatsoever.
I think I wrote football again.
Yeah, I said football as well. Yeah,
that kind of thing.
But to be fair, when you get older, you start to feel that pressure. Like when you go for university choices, college choices, or whatever it is, you're like, I need to pick something that I will do for the rest of my life, not realizing that most people go through 6 or 7 different careers.
At the time, it's made to seem like it's
like the biggest decision you'll ever make.
When really, this is what you'll do for the rest of your life.
I remember stress. Yeah, I was stressing so hard on my GCSEs because my parents had put so much pressure.
I know you were on it.
I was distraught when I got my grades because I was aiming for A's, and when I got B's, I literally stomach dropped and everything else disappeared. But after I'd done my GCSEs, I kind of realized that it just didn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It does. It's just a platform for me to get to college, and that was a platform for me to get to university and then to a job. Like it's just, I don't know. It felt. I was scared of university for a while, because it felt like when you get to university, you do your degree. That's the end. I heard a lot of people say university was the best days of my life. Like your youth, your university. I hated that notion. Just thinking, oh yeah, those are going to be the best days of my life and nothing else after that. Like that's where it ends. Then I have to go get a job and have a family.
Then it's that whole, you're meant to switch your mind after uni and like turn professional.
And plus, when you go to uni, you get to your 3rd year. I've heard this from a lot more people now that like my friends have gotten to that 3rd year. You have the sudden realization that you spent 3 years working towards a degree and a piece of paper, and you suddenly realize that every Tom, Dick, and Harry also has that piece of paper. And it doesn't matter anymore, because you're going to find these jobs that you're supposed to be expertly qualified for when everyone else has the exact same degree, probably better grades than you, and it means shit. It means jack shit.
I disagree with like qualifications. I don't disagree with it. Obviously, you've got a lot more knowledge than like most people. But when it comes to actually like work, so like it could be any job. You can have all these qualifications. Even like say you go to uni, you have all these qualifications. You can even go to like a local Sainsbury's or Tesco's. You might be like really smart and clever and stuff, but you are shit at work. Like I think at the end of the day, I think you should just be. Obviously, if that's your choice and that's what you want to go for, and you want to get those qualifications and actually do that. Then make sure that's actually something you want to do instead of doing that, pinging over to another job, then ping over to another job and be just shit at working for all of them. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure like sticking to one job, and obviously you're not going to find it for a long time. But I think the best thing to do is to dabble into loads of little things and then figure out
to see what you actually like and what you don't like.
Also, there's the emphasis on don't do the things that you like, do the things that secure. That will get you a paycheck. That will allow you to.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either. But it's instilled.
And it's like the whole problem with this is, I feel like we're taught from a young age there's a right way to go about life. There's a way you have to go. You go from school to college to uni to a full-time job. If you don't do one of them, you're considered a failure.
Exactly.
And I don't like that because I feel like a lot of times when people drop out of uni or college or whatever, it's because they have no interest in what they're doing. Probably because they've been pressured to choose a course like that. And they want to go off and do their own thing, which, some families might not like that. But they've got to respect it.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, the child, the young adult has the say. like they're the ones putting towards I don't know how many grand to do this degree. They at least get to see whether they actually want to do it or not. But no, the whole education thing and the whole social thing it's fucked.
It's a bit misleading, isn't it?
It's a bit misleading. There's plenty of people who've gone through lives and done really well with no degree.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's stories out there everywhere, isn't it?
Exactly.
Richard Branson is him, whoever it is.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, the Virgin Media.
Yeah.
I think he was horrendous at school.
Oh,
something.
Gary V.
Gary
There you go. Like,
he was like right near the bottom of his class. Was ranked like 500 and something out of 500 and something. And now look at him.
So I'd heard rumours about him, Mark. Since I only joined in year 9, you were the first person I actually contacted.
Yeah.
I think I still have that message somewhere.
Probably on Facebook, innit? Or something.
Yeah. But it was more along the lines of, hey, can you just be my friend? I don't want to be
I will say that before I see this message, I know I was an absolute savage on Facebook. I don't know why. I don't even mean to be like that. I just think I was so concerned about whatever other people thought that I'd come across as a prick because people were pricks to me and that kind of stuff. And I remember I went back on my archive during COVID, Facebook scrolling right down to 2012. I had some savage I was so blunt and rude to some people, but
that's the whole point of growing up.
Yeah, it's the growing up.
Yeah, you learn
and you realise sometimes you need to just act a different way.
And you just forget as well how immature you used to be. You don't even remember it nowadays.
Then you sort of appreciate it as well because how much you've grown since then.
Right.
You're not like that anymore, do you know what I mean?
It's crazy the mentality shift from even like 16 to 18. Or 14 to 16. It's massive.
Yeah, because it's hard to compare a 12-year-old to a 12-year-old. That is leaps. You know what I mean? Even year by year, I think you show improvements one way or another. From maturity. So, yeah, man, it's all about growth.
Yeah, growth is, you just always growing. Anything that you do. Talking about lockdown, since everything is reopened, what we're saying now, I think, personally, everyone has got a lot happier since everything reopened. I think people have changed pretty much. Like talking about mentality, I see a lot of people who've switched their mentality recently, especially with the whole reducing the restrictions that have been lifted. I think it's lovely. I'm actually like enjoying I don't know about you, but I'm actually enjoying seeing people about and like laughing and smiling.
It's a nice relief.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
the year and a bit that we've had, just like being able to see friends and not being guilty about it. Or like being able to just grab a pint or just do things that a year ago or a year ago would be just completely normal without question. But within the last year, it's been like suspects and criminal, etc., and all these other things, and hard to keep track of. It's just relief that you can be like, all right, I can breathe, I can do my own thing, I can not have to worry about this, that, or the other.
Tell you what, it's made me appreciate things a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even the smallest things
that
we couldn't do. We couldn't see our friends. We couldn't go out, have dinner. Like
couldn't do anything.
Literally little tiny things.
Yeah. Here's a question. So when lockdown started to where you are now, how much have you changed?
Massively.
I mean, I grew a beard. If that counts.
That's living proof, mate.
How much have I changed? I think, like Dan said, more gratitude, pretty much. You appreciate things more. And I think from what I've seen coming out of lockdown, where I've been, I think people are now more aware of the situation we're dealing with. Yeah. And even though we're still allowed to go out and about, we still acknowledge like this is still risky, like what we're doing. So in that sense, I think we've all changed on how we go about things in life. And just we're more careful as well. And I wouldn't say I've changed too much. I mean, going back to the gym and that's been nice. But I mean, I've managed to like maintain kind of my exercise. It's just now that you can lift again. It's just a lot more drive, I feel.
Because you had a little thing in lockdown, didn't you, where like obviously your mental health dropped as well. Would you say that's got a lot better since everything as well?
Yeah, it's got better.
Because I wanted to say actually that was good that you came out and spoke about that as well, because that was probably the best medicine that you could have done for yourself, like coming out and speaking. And it took a lot as well. Like when I was watching that video, I was like, wow, like that takes a lot of balls to come out and say. Like,
I think that was just a product of my environment and just this built up emotion over the course of 2-3 months. And I just thought, fuck it, because I'm not meeting anyone. Sorry, I'm not meeting anyone right now. So I feel like the best way I can kind of express it is just chuck it online where everyone else is kind of viewing stuff and just run with it, to be honest. But yeah, I think I'm at a point now where like I did a few of those videos, but I'm at a point now where I don't feel like the need to put anything else out there for the moment, because I think I got everything off my chest. And it's like, there's people out there who specialize in these things. You know, they base their life around this like research. So go and watch them, you know what I mean? Because they can give you advice all the time. I'm just going off my own experiences, you know?
I mean, even then, it's nice to hear someone who's trained psychologically in those specific things, but it's also nice to hear someone who's literally just pouring out their feelings.
I suppose that makes it hits home with a lot more people that way,
real,
because it makes you realise that it's not just the people who specialise in it who go through this. It is anyone.
For sure. I feel like we all, like, we don't have to talk about mental health, do you know what I mean? I think we all go through struggles at some point. I just chose to do it like that at the time because it felt like the right thing to do. And other people might not do that, that's okay. That doesn't mean they're pussies, you know what I mean? Because mental health is a serious game, for sure. And, you know, the best thing to do is just talk to people you trust. That's what I always say. But at that time, I was quite isolated. Like, I was up at uni, I had a few flatmates, but we were talking, but I mean, we didn't really talk about that stuff too much. And I thought, well, I just want to talk about this. So,
get it off your chest.
Did any of them ever talk to you after that? Did they ever see the video?
Yeah, I got a bunch of messages. They spoke to me as well. It wasn't like that deep, because I did kind of already touch on it with them, like, you know, I felt a bit shit, but then they also felt a bit shit. So it's like, you know what I mean? I think we all kind of bounced off each other in that sense.
It's nice. I think a lot of people have felt isolated during lockdown. I mean, it's when you're told not to go outside, not to see your friends, it's hard to have that sort of face-to-face contact or that emotional connection with someone where you feel like you talk to someone. Because over Zoom and over voice calls, they're good and all, and eventually you get used to them. But there's nothing quite like having a face-to-face conversation and feeling like, I'm feeling this way, I'm not feeling good. They're just talking about it with every human interaction and like connection there is. But no, I can imagine it's difficult.
It's 100% difficult for everyone. Like, even us three. Like, we've had a lot of it. We've been through a lot, especially the last like this whole lockdown experience. Like, a video we done, when was it, the end of last year?
Something like that.
All of us just opening up and talking about what we just felt. And even just us three getting together, talking about that, just lifted us up in the...
it wasn't planned. It wasn't anything like it. It was more so just, fuck it, let's talk about this, put it on the internet and see what happens.
And we all have our ups and we all have our downs. I think it's about embracing, you have both. You don't just really appreciate the ups, kind of try and appreciate the downs, even though it's tough. And then you can be all right.
Grow from the downs, sort of thing.
I feel like a lot of the reason I did that video as well was because I've always been an active person outdoors. So not being able to do that was tough for me. But by doing that, it made me kind of realise there's other things I can do inside. And I just started to learn how to enjoy myself indoors, not just outdoors. But I need elements of both, I feel like, to be truly happy. So
I couldn't stay like more than 2 hours inside. I love being outside with people. Partly escapism. When you're with other people, it's nice to just get away from your thoughts and feelings. But when lockdown hit, you had no other option. It was against the law to do anything else. So
it was particularly hard for me, and I did break the law a few times, I'll be honest, but it was minor.
That's fine.
Allegedly.
Minor stuff. And then I just, like climbing fences to go and no one else was there. I wasn't causing any harm to anyone. So
victim's crime.
That I honestly thought I would explode if I didn't do that. I was going mental in my mind. Like, I was literally going insane. I thought, I have to do this.
Would you rather have £10 million in your bank account right now, or never have sex again?
£10 million straight, mate.
No, wait.
Wait.
Why am I even thinking about that?
That's an L, mate.
Never have sex again.
That's an easy one.
Oh, wait, I've got you, no.
Anyone else got another?
I think I've heard it. I can't remember what it is.
The rule of getting this £10 million is that you'll never have sex again.
Oh, fuck, that changes me good.
That's what I meant to say.
How would I not have sex?
You just
Well, is my dick?
Can you do
no
other
long-
things though? Do you think, or anything sexual?
I'd say
what's the boundaries?
I'd say anything sexual.
Anything sexual.
Fuck that. I could.
But how are you gonna stop me?
10 M's though.
Well, it's you just can't. Your body.
Are you gonna like
your body-
chemically
your body-
castrate?
Your body cannot do it. Your body physically cannot do it anymore.
I feel like sex is really important for life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's even anything sexual. 10 million though, like really?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, mine
Nah,
would be worth for 10 mil. 10 mil won't last.
I wouldn't
very
do
long.
that. No.
It's nice to have
I
money,
wouldn't.
but I'd rather
Yeah,
work
man.
for the money instead of getting given it for.
Yeah, you're just giving it straight up. It just doesn't feel.
No, it's just savage. I don't know.
Nah, man.
Okay, what's yours? Are you gonna say the same thing?
No, I'd take the 10 million, obviously.
What was the other question with the money where Imran was completely like disagreed? It was in the.
We love to see agree, disagree.
yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of. I feel like the people want to see that.
So would you rather have? I think it was.
It was 10 mil. Or
No, but you
like,
changed the amount. You changed the amount.
Yeah, I changed the amount.
It was something like £1,000 or something every time you clicked your fingers.
Yeah, £100 every time you clicked your fingers, or
£1 billion.
£1 billion in your bank.
A question for the viewers out there. It's a would you rather. Would you rather have £10 every time you click your hand, click your fingers, or £1 billion in your bank account right now? Me and Dan are of different.
I'd say a
views.
bill, mate. Even though I can click like multiple things. at the
Think
same
about how many
time.
times you click in a day though. Like if you were told,
The thing is,
but you just be doing that all
I
day.
just, like
so-
multiple, that's what 400. It's
Yeah.
calm, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then a
but
bill
it's
straight
A
away.
billion. I don't even think you realise.
A billion,
pounds
no
is.
effort, 100% a billion, 100% billion.
Yeah, I think
You're
people,
not going to click this amount.
people
of
think
times.
about thinking all I've got to do is click all day, every
Yeah.
day, because then eventually you'll surpass $1 billion. But then you realise that's all you're doing
That's
in
all
a
you're
day.
doing.
And you're just sitting there
Walking
clicking
to the
your
And then
fingers.
what if you accidentally click and you're like, fuck, not this again? Because you're that rich now.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'd have to like as soon as you get the money in your bank account, you'd have to think quick. Like that's why practically.
Would you?
Yes, you'd have to think quick.
£1 billion in your bank account.
All right,
and so you
fine,
have to think
fine.
quick.
All right, fine, yeah, fine. We'll go with that. £1 billion in your bank account right now. You don't think the HMRC are going to not like see that? Or in that West,
Then we're
they didn't see that
then we're going,
immediately.
like, technic-
But then,
tech-
what about this then? This is.
But no, you can get away. You can get away with just doing.
I heard this, by the way. This is a shit
What?
I
show.
couldn't say technicalities, something like that.
Oh, technicalities.
Anyways.
Alright. Well, if you do this, you can easily get by. Like, oh, someone sent you 100 quid, easy. Like, or maybe 500 quid.
You're not
That's
just going to
plausible.
go, oh, I want to read 100. Sweet ass. You're going to go, mate, I want money. Like, I
Well,
want
if you do it
$1.
sensibly.
Yeah, but who's going to do it
Who
sensibly?
the fuck is going to do it sensibly? You. You're the only person.
No,
who knows
you
that.
wouldn't even do it sensibly.
I think
Still, it's a lot easier to go under the radar if you have, like, I don't know, a couple of thousand or maybe tens of thousands. 1 billion in your bank account, like, that's.
I'll buy HMRC.
Yeah.
Sweet as.
I think though, no, this doesn't even forget the money for a moment. It's like the principle of it, right? Because like realistically, you're clicking, right? You're earning that money by clicking.
True.
Whereas if someone says, right, here's $1 billion, are you going to feel satisfied with that, or do you feel like if you're really trying to work towards a certain amount of money? I know it's just like clicking. I know it's stupid. but
How much of it is you really
I think
working?
a lot of the sometimes I think the answer depends on do people want to grind for the money or just get it. Do you know what I mean?
That's
But
kind of true, actually. Fuck.
but in this sense,
I get
it doesn't.
the principle
yeah, the
behind
principle. But I think for this, it doesn't really matter. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
I think
But-
if I just had £1 billion without the technicalities in my bank account, I would have no ambition to do the things that I want to do currently. I think my thing would be different. I think if I had a lot of, like, an obscene amount of money.
Just be relaxed. You don't want to do it.
No, I'd go for power and greed. I'd 100% go for that. Sometimes I fantasize about that. Just like being able to do anything that way within a click of my fingers.
But I don't think any of us would know what to do with that money, to be honest.
No one would have a clue.
Because like it's like a lot of celebrities who just they get the fame, whatever,
yeah.
they get the clout, they get loads of money. They normally spend a lot of that on rubbish. A lot of people because they're not smart like that. Like no disrespect, you know what I'm saying, but they don't understand like how to be financially smart. But I think there's this rapper who's come out of Brighton recently, Arrdee, innit?
Yeah.
He was in a shop and I think he saw the price of like Travis
I know
Scott
it,
ones and he was
yeah.
like, nah, fuck that, I'm not buying. That's too
Yeah,
much. I
too
thought you were going to
crap.
say 170, but they're
Yeah,
1.7k.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that where I think he's smart with his money, like in
Yeah.
those situations. But some people just be like, fuck it.
Because he easily probably could, especially with the
Sure.
recent collab. Like, he could definitely afford that. Sort of thing. But I think for someone like him as well, starting off in his, well, I say starting off in his career, he's been doing it a while, but to just finally start blowing up and then you're starting to spunk money, I think that's such a bad investment for you personally.
A lot of rappers notoriously
they do.
bad with money.
Yeah, they just see a check and they go fuck it.
Yeah, but as a counter argument, I feel like a lot of them do it is because they come from nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they just want to spend loads.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Which is fair enough, right? But when people go bankrupt, you know,
when you've lived your whole life paycheck to paycheck, you don't know any other way.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you do when you get your next paycheck? Like, oh, it's even better.
Yeah. That Arrdee guy, though, genuinely,
It's hard.
Unreal.
He's actually like.
the fact he went to Hove Park.
His verse on Body goes hard.
Oh,
It's I've seen it everywhere on TikTok.
yeah.
Like everywhere.
He just brings something different, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Bit like H, kind of that kind of vibe, just something different.
I think it's helped him too because he low-key looks like H too. Like, yeah.
He said he doesn't think he looks like him.
He does.
It's just the whole skinhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
That's
young
what it is.
guy,
Yeah,
skinhead,
yeah.
cheeky lads.
But mate, that's a fucking compliment. I think I'd take that.
It's working for him.
Profiting
No,
on it, why not?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, it is.
Do you think seeing him come from Brighton, coming from Hove Park, has kind of motivated you in some sort?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to do the opportunities that he has, like, especially with the people he's collaborating with, like Bugsy Malone. Like he was like in Hove Park, he was like one of my idols. Like listening to him every day at school. Like obviously, there's so much that I can do to potentially get to that sort of stage. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's and you know what? It's like it motivates me, but it's also nice to see someone else come from the same area that you grow up doing well, because then that helps personally. Like I think it helps people like myself get opportunities, because if I'm in the same sort of area, obviously he's now going to be the king of his city, or that like shit title, whatever it is. So that's going to boost Brighton in general for the opportunities for other artists like myself. And there's no guarantee that I will get big. There's no guarantee I won't get big. I can't tell you now that I'll get big or not. But yeah, it fucking definitely motivates me. Like I respect him. He's doing well for himself. It's sick to see. Like
when you think about it as well, like how many guys have come out of Brighton, like, in the music industry?
There's Rizzle Kicks.
There's Rizzle Kicks. There's Fatboy Slim. Did he come out of Brighton?
Yeah.
Adele.
Adele, right? Well, in the grand scheme of things, though, not many people come out of Brighton. So
100%.
it's good to see, regardless.
We've got a good music scene, though.
Exactly.
Like it's a banging music scene. It's not as big as some cities, but it's still there. It's still prominent. Whether there's as much of a drill scene, I don't know. But like alternative music.
Well, Ardee's sort of drill. He's like drill. So
I wonder what he did to get to where he was. I suppose years of work. I understand that.
I think,
but like
he done his little freestyle in Brighton, didn't he?
Yeah,
that was like 6 a.m. free. I think that got put on, I don't know, Link Up TV or something like that. And that was
His one just before that, cheeky
bar. That one's.
Yeah, so I had a look on his Spotify the other day.
I rate it as well.
You said he went to Hove Park.
Yeah.
So when we were in year 11, what year was he in? In 9
would
or
have
8?
been
10?
Year 7.
It wouldn't be year 10.
Oh no, year 8.
So,
we would have never really seen him.
No, we wouldn't have seen him.
No, we wouldn't have.
I was going to say.
I didn't even know he went to.
I literally just learned that now.
Yeah.
So, big up Mr. Trimmer.
Mr. Trimmer.
I was going to say Mr. Bricken, mate.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever get the shout from
Yeah. It's brutal.
I got it bad, bro. Really? Geography, I think year 8, I want to say. I'm mucking around. We had a supply teacher. I'm fucking playing with the table. He comes walking in because he's Depsy head at that point. Does that click of the fingers? You outside. Oh, no.
His voice was so distinct. Like even if you didn't see it,
and the frown he does as well. Every wrinkle on his head's popping up. I'm thinking I'm in for a treat.
Every good deputy teacher or like whoever enforces the rules has some sort of an army demeanor.
Yeah.
Like it's something.
It's never the head. It's never the head that's the scariest. It's the one that below it. I miss Hope.
Puts people straight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He gave you the treatment.
To be fair, like, I think Mr. Brooklyn
was humble now.
Mr. Brooklyn was the only reason why I stayed in Home Park.
Really?
I was going to leave. Wow. Yeah. So at the end of year 9, I didn't feel like I fit in enough. And it's not as much as my other schools considering I stayed there for 4 and 5 years, and by the end of it, I felt like I was secure enough. And I thought, I might leave. I might go to another school like Blatch or Carlin Newman. I had a talk with him and he said, stay here for a couple of years, see how you feel. And I stayed, and it was really worth it. Like, he was the only person who
learned a few words.
Yeah, he only gave me a few words.
I think, the main thing was, he was very, he was intimidating. He had that figure. He used his authority, and I think people respected that as well. And no one wanted to mess with Brooklyn, to be honest.
Nah, plus he was a good humoured about some certain stuff.
Yeah,
so just like,
I feel like he was a genuine guy. It's funny just talking about him, but like he was actually a nice person. Like, had a good teacher. but obviously he was serious too. So like you said, it's like you had respect for him if he actually said something to you.
He just wants the best for us.
Yeah.
You like the same with like Mr. Mac, for example. All the people. I feel like Mr. Mac. I have a soft spot for him as well.
I only came in as soon as he left, like the year after. I think the guy was bald and brown.
No, that was Mr. Knox McCauley, wasn't it?
Oh, then shit, I'm getting.
Mr. Mac was PE one.
Yeah, he's still there, I believe.
He was still there.
My little brother's there.
Oh yeah. All right, then don't worry.
The one I had a soft spot for was Mr. Warwick.
Oh yes, sociology class.
Mate.
Yeah.
MPSHE day.
Yeah.
He was always lovely.
Because we had a supply teacher for the first for the whole year.
No, half of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because our grades were falling. Like we had a supply teacher every time because they didn't get anyone in.
I don't know what happened, but we had Mr. Waite, the history teacher, Mr. Waite, take us for sociology,
and then he just
left after that.
And we were all doing really badly at sociology. There's no way we were going to get a pass. Yeah. We were averaging like a D for our sociology grades.
Everyone.
And Mr. Warwick just kind of came in and was like, look, we've got this much amount of time, this many weeks. We're going to get as much information as possible. And we're home for the best. Yeah. And he did really well, to be fair. I think we came out with a B.
Yeah. And I remember sitting on the court just before the exam, and I was bricking it because I was like, I don't know any of this information. I had the book in my hand, trying to just get all the last minute bits in. He comes over, takes the book from me, and he's like, Dan, you're going to be absolutely fine, mate.
Oh,
like,
sweet.
Don't worry, you're going to be fine.
So
this isn't the end of everything, so just go in there. You know enough to get through this exam, you'll be fine. And ever since then, I've been like,
sweet as.
Yeah.
It's cracking what good teachers can do. I mean, some teachers will just have a power trip.
Yeah,
but
that's it.
I mean, it's always good to highlight the good teachers because they're out there and they are really lovely, and the people who will make your school experience. If you're going through a tough time, you can go talk to them. If you're doing bad in a subject, they will take you behind and just explain it as many times as you want them to. Yeah. And they are really. They should get paid so much more.
Yeah,
they should get paid so much more.
I think good teachers care about their students. They don't just care about the grades.
Yeah. No, exactly.
If, for example, I suppose what you were saying, I had him for PSHE, and that in itself as a subject was very beneficial, not just learning about the different topics, but him as a person. He was a teacher I've never really noticed with that kind of compassion towards his students, I feel like, because he actually, I mean, PSHE as well, it's quite a personal topic, something we're going to learn about in our own lives for the next couple of years. But he was always a guy who was always talking about not worrying too much, just live in the moment kind of thing. And it was that kind of natural personality he had that got him.
What we should do? Should we ask him if he wants to come onto a podcast?
That would be incredible. You can get Mr. Waite, Brooklyn.
I'm
Mr. Mac.
I'll ask him myself. Just give me a contact. I'll fucking call him.
I'm pretty
easy. I've still got his email.
Email him live on the fucking podcast, mate.
Incredible.
Everyone from Hope Park.
Imagine we got a Hope Park teacher on the podcast.
At the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Teachers.
Tell everyone what's up with your knee, man.
I've probably briefly mentioned it before, but I've had knee problems for years, literally young. I can't remember the last time I had actually.
You ain't interested.
Honestly, he's off. Any time George starts talking, he goes, I need to
go on. Let's clean the table quickly.
Makes as much noise as possible. He's like,
anyone want a drink? Anyone want tea? Anyone fancy drink?
I'm alright.
Yeah, please. Yeah, basically, what I have is this clunking at the back of my knee, which I've just had for years. I've never known what it is. I've never been examined or nothing. I went to the doctor's once and he just felt it and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm not actually too sure."
Important call. Business meeting.
My manager, Tim.
Yeah, go on. You're gonna have to take it.
You have to.
Do it.
Sorry.
Do it.
Just talk right now.
Accept.
Just
got hit with that text message. Sorry,
Tim.
I
I will call you back.
Sorry, Tim.
I actually need to check.
George's name comes first.
I do genuinely need a piss.
Hey, this is an L. We can talk about the knee.
Yeah, you know what?
We can talk about the knee.
Put this in the bin. Fuck the
This is our own little segment, I feel like, as well. The knee talk, because we both have bad knees. Go ahead.
You're comfortable, innit? You love. You're good. Listen, sweet as.
I'm happy.
Good, man. I'm glad. No one else is. Yeah. Anyway, so I've had this clunking in the back of my knee for a very long time, and I've never known what it is. Got examined by the doctor. He didn't even know what it was, and blah blah blah. Ever since then, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave it. It should be fine. Blah blah blah. I then recently went for an MRI scan, which was quite like, it's not scary, but obviously it was a massive step because I was actually going to finally find out what's going on. Anyway, have that, I carry on training as normal as a marathon. I don't get pain in the knee. I've only ever had pain in this knee a couple of times. Once was at Arrdee when I was lifting something. I just had this really bad sharp pain, which could have been when it was like bad, I'm not entirely sure. And then recently when I didn't have the correct like training equipment, like shoes wise. Anyway, then the other day, I finally get the MRI scan results and it was not good at all. I was on the phone to him. I had to specify that I was doing a marathon. And then instantly he went, no. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you cannot do this half marathon. What's happened is, at the back of my knee bone, which I'm assuming is the patella, I'm assuming that's the bone that he's on about, I've actually got a micro crack in the back of it. The reason for that is impact over time. So going back to the half marathon, they did say like, yeah, no, you are not allowed to do this marathon. It could get so much worse. And when you mean so much worse, what could actually happen is if I carry on with the impact with the running, it could actually potentially fracture the bone, if not break it, which will then leave permanent damage, which is obviously not good at all. But what is good is like my tendon, like you're going to mention soon, is tendon, cartilage, and ligament. They're all fine. Everything in there is sweet. It's just the bone, and that's what's so unfortunate about it, because that's probably the most serious in your knee. Because obviously you got to, like, there's nothing. I don't even know what they're going to do now when it comes to it. Because what they've advised me is take 6 weeks out of anything. So like, well, let's say anything, like 6 weeks of just like rest. I spoke to them about work and they said work's completely fine. But then I mentioned to them like, if I'm on my feet 8 hours a day, surely that's as much impact as going for a run. And he went, well, sort of, blah, blah, blah. But
that practical to do, like when you're working.
That's what I mean.
You're going to have to earn a living. If you don't earn a living, you don't pay rent.
Exactly.
Like, shit like
so
that.
I don't think they've, obviously they have taken into an account, but I'm also not entirely sure if they have at the same time. So yeah, medically I'm not doing the marathon, but I am still doing the marathon. I haven't put this much time and dedication, and I haven't been this resilient and committed to something ever. And I'm so passionate about doing this marathon. Like, I don't care. Like, I know the risks. I'm educated on it, and I've evaluated it. And I'm still doing it, even if it means like I break my fucking knee. I don't care. I'm doing this marathon. So
Love that.
it's scary though. It's scary knowing that I went on a run like recently. So the day before I got the call, I literally just did a 14K. So I was like,
oh, it's a bit late.
I was like, oh, no marathon, really? I was like, oh, I just done a 40K. But anyway, but then, so then Wednesday, so yesterday, I did a 5K and I was still close to beating my time. I was 15 seconds off, even with knowing that the odds are against me and knowing that one little error can just be like, game over.
To be fair, I think I heard, like, apparently, if you're taller, you have more pressure on your knees.
Yeah.
Shorter guys like us, we don't tend to get knee problems.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, because
it's more weight. It's more weight onto that one specific joint. And the knee joint is so complex. Like, people don't realize until you have problems. Like, you take your knees for granted, mate. I'm dead serious. Like, look after them. I wish when I was a kid I was looking after them properly. Especially now knowing and being educated on like lifting is the most important thing. That's why people get so many problems in their back and knees. That's probably like the main issue people get in their knees, because they don't do stuff correctly. They take the piss out of it. But when it comes to it, and then you know about it, you're like, fuck, I should have listened. So be careful, man. Your knees are fucked.
And that's what I touched on like last time I was on here, was my problems I've had with my knees.
Yeah.
Like, I have patellar tendonitis, which is to do with the tendon.
Shit.
Probably heard of it.
Yeah.
It's basically an overuse injury caused from mainly jumping, running, that kind of high intensity stuff. But back to what you're saying about lifting and that, I think as an athlete or somebody who does sports, people don't realise how impactful injuries are. Like, before you get any injuries, life is sweet. But once you get an injury, you have to really start training more smart.
Yeah.
And I think in your case, because obviously you're running a marathon, right? That's like a life goal, for example.
Yeah.
Every doctor, I think every specialist is trained to give you that kind of advice. In the more extreme case, I feel like they have to be just dead serious, like straight out, you can't train for 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, whatever. But when you're dedicated to it, I think it's a whole nother level. And it's like, they're not with you every second of the day.
No.
Like, ultimately, you know how you feel. And he's just giving you advice in the worst case scenario, I feel like. I've had similar advice, you know, don't play for 6 weeks, which doesn't sound too bad. Do you know what I mean? Just rest for 6 weeks. But that's a long ass 6 weeks.
It's a long time.
You're sitting around trying to find other things to do that satisfy you. And it's so tough to stay away from what you love doing. So I've never really listened, which isn't the smartest thing to do, because I've had it on and off for years now. But I'm not bothered by that, to be honest. It doesn't affect me too much.
Yeah.
But I've got to a point where I know now when it's going to be too much. So then I rest. But as long as I'm, you know, getting a game of basketball in, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So it's about having a balance.
Where did the love of basketball come?
It started off as a hobby, I feel like. It was more that I felt like I got rejected from football. And it was like, I never really enjoyed it going into school. Before that, I loved it because I thought I was quite good. But then you realise there's other guys who are a lot better than you.
Yeah.
And at that age, I was quite fragile anyway. So it's like being told no by everyone. I just thought, well, this ain't for me, which I don't regret at all. Because then I think I just went to after school trainings with like Mr. Lowry coaching or something. And then Mr. Mac. And then we had another guy come in, Tom Ward. He's like, you know, quite a big coach in Brighton. And then just from there, I got more invested in it, just going to different tournaments and whatnot. Then when I got to college, that's when it became like proper serious for me, more than a hobby. Yeah. So, I didn't get in the first year, but I just took that on the chin, went away, came back, got in. But yeah, it just, I don't know, it's like when you love something, it's hard to explain. It's like you focus on nothing else but what you're doing, I feel like. And that is what basketball is for me. And it's so lucky to find what you're passionate about early on, I feel like, as well. And you can't take that for granted. So with this knee injury I got, purely the love I have for playing is keeping me going. I think I would have quit a long time ago if it was just a hobby. But
I kind of agree with that too. If I wasn't enjoying, if I wasn't actually passionate about this marathon, I don't think I would have done it too. I'd be like, cool, 6 weeks. No, I can't do the marathon. I'm like,
it's what it is.
Like you said, it's like when you actually love it and so passionate about it, it's like, I don't care. Like you're gonna have to shoot to stop me doing.
It's like a mind shift.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just gonna let this
little thing. No, I agree. Because one thing I compare it to that we actually watched like last time we were here. Actually, you probably know this guy too. Is David Goggins. And like I base it. Obviously, he is an extreme athlete, but he made himself an extreme athlete.
Yeah.
So that's what's the difference between I compare it to him, because he had all sorts of injuries. He even we'll just name one of them. He had a little hole in his heart. That man could have jumped the slightest too high, or anything could happen. One air bubble gets trapped in that, dead, game over. And he still achieved what he's achieved. And then I look at my injury, like obviously it's not petty and it's not little, because it's still a massive problem. And like your knee problem, it's not petty and small, but to me it's like it's nothing. Like it's not like an actual major break. Like you're not amputated. Like do you know what I mean? Like it's just a little. It's hard to say it, but like it's just a little injury. I'm not going to stop just because of a little injury. Do you know what I mean?
Into perspective, where not just him, but using David Goggins as an example, the things he's been through, the injuries he's had, and all of that, the hole in his heart. He ran 8 consecutive 100-mile races,
which is mental,
in 8 consecutive weeks.
Like
that's ridiculous.
Miles.
Do you think he listens to doctor's advice?
Hell no,
He's definitely had medical advice to stop doing what he's doing.
He's gone from the bottom of England up to the top, down to back to the bottom, and then halfway through.
8 weeks.
800 miles.
800 miles.
So that's about 400 miles to get from the bottom of England to the top, another 400 to come down. Yeah, that's back and forth.
You're meant to do, no one's meant to do that, but it's advised for you to do 1 of them a year. And he done 8 in 8 weeks.
That's crazy.
With pneumonia, with a hole in his heart.
But the odds are actually...
He has to strap his foot up in a position like that, so he could keep running, because that...
Was it his shin?
His shin.
He wrapped his foot to his shin.
Yeah, so he didn't have to bend it.
Oh mate, that's hard to do.
It's a joke, isn't it?
And that's what I obviously you shouldn't compare yourself ever to other people.
You can find inspiration.
Yeah, you can find inspiration, I guess. Yeah, we'll use it as inspiration and motivation.
And perspective. Putting things into perspective.
True,
the fact that this guy had all of that happen and still done all of that.
That's what I mean. That's what I want to be able to do now, and you probably feel the same way, like anyone that's got an injury too. Once you have an injury, and then when someone says to you, "You cannot do this," it makes you so much more motivated. Like I said this when I heard about my injury, I've never been more motivated now to actually cross that line. Like when it comes to cross that line, I'm definitely tearing up. I'm definitely going to be so grateful and so happy because I've actually finally did it, and I went against the odds. Do you know what I mean?
You've overcome your own adversity.
Exactly.
That's it, isn't it?
Amen. So yeah.
When you commit to something as well, it's like there's no turning back. I feel like, like you said, you'd have to be shot dead to stop. Like, as long as I'm still breathing, do you know what I'm saying? That applies to anything though. I feel like we've all got our own different passions. We wake up in the morning, we think about it. Sometimes we can't even sleep because we're thinking about it, that kind of stuff. And it's like, for me, what I related to is the only reason I've ever got anywhere in basketball is just pure passion, just heart. I've never been talented, to be honest. People come to me and like, you're really good, how did you get this good? And I just say to them, years of training. Like, straight up. There's no sugarcoating nothing. Like, if you actually want to play basketball, because there's guys who are way better than me, even in Brighton. If you actually want to play, you've got to be committed and just understand what you're good at and what you're not good at and just run with it. But I mean, again, it can apply to anything. If you truly believe that you can do it, you're going to do it.
I actually fully agree with that as well. And I think the majority of stuff is a mind game.
100%.
Like, it's a mental game, I think. Like, don't get me wrong, like basketball and like doing sports is a physical game. It's massively physical. But if you're mentally not there, you will not do it.
For sure.
And that's just facts. If you have gone into something half-assed, you will not do that. I put money there. I know it's blunt and it's straight up, but it's facts. Like,
it is true. Even the football game that played in last night, you came to watch. Everyone when we got there wasn't I wouldn't say down or anything, but they just weren't passionate in all of this. So I was like, right, I'm gonna change it up a little bit and bring a bit of a positive energy and motivation. Just a six-side game. Brought a bit of passion to everyone. Like, come on, we're gonna do this. Like, anytime anyone would score in practice, like, come on, like, bring the motivation, lift everyone up. Suddenly, everyone's mindsets were on it, switched on, clocked in. And it was a close game. It was 1-1 for the majority of it, and then we ended up winning 3-1.
Switched on.
And I know it seems silly to just blame it all on the mindset to begin with, but if we'd all gone there, all felt like,
well, we have to play a game.
Yeah, got to play a game. This team look quite good. This is going to be close. All of this, like, you're not mentally prepared for it.
No.
If you're mentally prepared to win, you're going to win. But it's getting in that spot to begin with, isn't it?
Yeah, I think especially in team sports, you need that person to, uplift everyone. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best player. You know what I mean?
It could be the worst. It could be anyone.
Any team needs a player like that if they're going to do well, because there's going to be days people aren't up for it, people aren't playing well, they get down on themselves, whatever. It's your job as a teammate and a friend even just to pick them up and say, look, this is life. Do you know what I mean? No one's perfect. You're going to have shit days regardless. So just keep at it. And we've all been there. We've all felt like that. And I think having that person or just that group to uplift you keeps you going, because you can't do it on your own. You can't get to where you want to be on your own. You can't.
Amen. Like, genuinely, amen. This is what I've been speaking about recently too. Obviously, it seems like it's just a closed conversation, but like I've said, I'm very grateful for the people that I've managed to surround myself with, because like you said, Mike, if you don't like have positivity around you, and not necessarily have to be positive every day. Like, I feel like when people say that, they expect, just yes men, like non-stop, like, you're doing really well and blah blah blah.
I think it's just not being negative.
I think it's, you can be brutally honest, but there's always going to be a positive reason behind that, because it's like, I've got basketball friends, like some of my close mates, they're very talented, but I think they lack some of the things I bring, like, just effort sometimes and just the desire to play. And I'll say to them, like, sometimes I'll be a prick to them, like, to be honest, that's just how it is. But they know that I'm doing it for the greater good. I'm not just trying to slag them off. I think as well with COVID, like in terms of basketball, people have come out of that. We've been watching loads of clips on YouTube of these highly talented players from all over the world who can do things that we just can't do, and they try and bring that on the court, try and act like something they're not, and it's because we haven't played, so all we're doing is watching videos of people who are playing and trying to copy them to keep ourselves satisfied. But sometimes I try and keep them straight, to be honest, but they do the same for me.
I think that's what you need, though.
That's important.
And I think, coming back to my thing as well, I think personally, and this is straight up as well, I wouldn't have started the rapping at all if it wasn't for the harsh, like, bluntness from everyone around me. Like, I think if you don't have that type of mentality, like, of people and like the group of people around you, you're gonna go do something and they're gonna think it's shit and they'll never come up to you. Like I can put out a song, you two might think it's, or you three might think it's good. Well, no, sorry, you might think it's shit, and then say to my face like, "Yo, it's actually so hard." Like, but then when you go away from me, you're like, "Nah, that's actually it's trash." Like, I think you need to surround yourself with people that are going to tell you straight. Like, obviously, for you probably saying that, you probably feel like a dick, but you know, not only is that going to benefit you so much, like the person that you're saying it to, but then you are just saying it in a loving way, so then they can improve on themselves. Like,
it's just all out of love. Ultimately.
Yeah, it's like, love.
I just want the best for them.
Exactly. Amen to that, man.
So I get out the monthly listeners of your face. I was 69 though. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's all a process though.
It's a slow.
It's important to know the numbers, but you know,
don't watch.
Yeah.
It's not,
trust me, it's like
important.
You're just gonna mess with your heads.
Yeah.
Even on Instagram. Oh, I didn't get this many likes. I know we've all done that. You know?
100%.
The whole minute to like ratio. Oh, if I don't get this amount of likes in this time frame, I'm deleting it. I'll try again tomorrow. But that's part of it. That's part of growing up. That's part of understanding it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No. It's weird how we've been conditioned to think likes equals dopamine.
It's because that's
acceptance, validation. It's a not thing.
Didn't help over lockdown either.
No.
Not having the real world. Got people, you know, questioning their lives.
Actually,
You're not wrong.
That's just part of. That's the negative aspects of social media, though, isn't it? I think there's plenty of positives, but I think the negatives do tend to outweigh the positives.
Do you reckon? Do you reckon there's more negatives than positives?
I think in the grand scheme of things, I think, you know, obviously the intent of the people making these platforms wasn't created for the purpose it is now. It was created, you know, to create a community worldwide so you can communicate with anyone. But now it's turned into a competition where if you don't have this many followers, likes, whatever, clout.
I understand that. I get that. But how much of that is down to the actual platform itself compared to the insecurities of people?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of our society and our generation maybe have underlying insecurities and issues.
Yeah.
And how much I question how much of it is down to the actual platform of Instagram, for example, who, whether they do give likes or whether they don't give likes, is it really their fault that?
But I mean, Instagram is still responsible for the culture that happens on their app.
It's
it's not so much the app. If you look at it, like the app itself, it's just an app that showcases photos. That's all it was meant to do. But the culture within Instagram goes a lot deeper and a lot further, where it's more about, you know, the self-worth that you get, the likes that you amount, the followers you have, the following that you can use, etc. It's deeper than just showing photos.
I'd say the biggest platform for toxicity is Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
I don't even have Twitter.
No, I've never had it.
I don't go on it as often.
You know, Jake Melville, he always tells me to get it. I never do though.
I hate reading.
You know,
I hate reading.
I think it's just because he wants me to see what he tweets. It is funny what he tweets, but he can just show me. It's interesting what you were saying, because can you blame the platforms? Can you not? It's like, as I was saying, originally they were made for different purposes than what they are now. Like you were saying, Instagram only photos, but now there's so many different interactive features. Like Instagram now have that recommended page. It's basically like TikTok's format, and then you got Facebook stories, like Snapchat. You got TMZ Media, whatever, YouTube, classic. Like it's all cross-platform now because they know that's what makes the money and gets the views. So
we've also got Triller, who are now popping onto the scene.
Who?
Triller.
They've been about for a while.
But
I've seen them
kicking
popping
off
up
now.
Yeah,
as a social media
thing. They're following a similar thing as TikTok, in a way.
Oh, really? I have never heard of them.
From what I've seen of it.
Yeah,
it's not a big platform.
Triller, they're the ones who helped the Jake Paul fight. Don't quote me on this, but I think those two girls from TikTok, the
D'Amelia's Charlie.
I think they've moved over to Triller.
Really?
I think so. I think they've been paid.
I thought they were. Oh, right, they got paid. Right.
I think they've been paid to move over from TikTok to Triller. And obviously, you've got people like Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, all having shares in Triller.
Yeah.
Which is why they were on the Jake Paul, Ben Askren thing.
That is a good topic, though, isn't it? Jake Paul.
Oh,
this whole thing.
Yeah, you know what?
Do you know what?
Let's plug back in for this one. Come on.
I think that the fact he's getting so much attention is exactly what he wants, because there is no way he would get these fires if he didn't, you know, do all these things on Instagram, social media. Social media's given him a platform to promote himself to the point where people are actually buying into it. and thinking this will be entertaining. And, you know, it's building his ego up that he's fighting these guys who aren't boxers. You know, Ben Askren, great UFC fighter. He's a wrestler. He's not a boxer.
Yeah.
You even saw him in that fight. Yeah. And there's all talks about him, you know, just chasing the bag, not really trying to win. I don't know, Jake, you know, he can hit. He looks like he can hit hard, but he's never really been tested, I don't think.
So we've had many conversations about it.
We had a conversation.
It is the hot topic pretty much right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole Jake
Which is
Paul
mad. Like, you think about it, like Jake Paul came from like Disney and now he's like the mainstream hot topic of every conversation.
How good he's done in terms of marketing.
Yeah.
No, I'm giving that.
He is a genius when it comes to that. Let's be real.
Yeah. Without a doubt. To go from Vine being like smallish creators to now being
everyone talking about it.
Everyone knowing him.
And there's even Logan now, isn't it? He's managed to secure
Yeah.
That is absurd. Yeah, but it's like, how do you secure that?
I don't know. It's the name they've
Hey, I'd say yes if I was going to give it millions.
Do you give Logan any chance?
No.
Even a puncher's chance?
No. But like Floyd technique was.
I think honestly what will happen is because Floyd is
imagine that
to just
Floyd Mayweather's first loss. I mean, I know, isn't it an exhibition? So
it's an exhibition, so it
even so, it's a loss.
Yeah, it's an L.
But like, I think what Floyd will do is mess around with him at first because he doesn't want to give it a shit show. Just like, oh, bang, he's out.
Imagine he just goes, game over.
Yeah, that's it. I don't think he wants to do that for the viewers' sake. He'll probably mess around with him for a couple of rounds and then just take him. Or give him a fight.
So do you think he'll knock him out?
I don't think Floyd will knock him out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's just
I don't think he'll
sit back, you know, do what he does.
Yeah.
Be very defensive.
Seeing as it's an exhibition, the rules are slightly different. I don't know if it goes the distance. I don't know if you can actually get a winner.
Really?
So
I don't actually know.
Damn, that would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it?
It does.
If that's the case, then Floyd would just do it first round, I think, if that was the case.
Well, let's think about Floyd recently. His last 3 fights, I believe. Who was it? It was that Japanese? Yeah. Conor McGregor, and now he's fighting Logan Paul, who you could argue, you know, Conor's whole thing with boxing, that crossover, similar to what Jake's doing, perhaps. It's all for bringing in money, revenue, whatever. Yeah. And that was huge. I remember Conor McGregor brought something to the table where people actually believed he was going to beat Floyd.
Yeah.
That's genius genius promotion as
in your head. It's like, it's not too far from the future that you think
potentially could happen.
Yeah, because he was never he was always a striker sort of guy.
You just seem to believe,
and he was in his prime.
Yeah, that was
his
prime. Even now, like I know he got smoked by Khabib.
It seems like his prime just came. He came and went.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. When I think of like people's prime, I kind of think of Muhammad Ali or like Anthony Joshua right now, or like Tyson Fury back in the day, and now like things that take 5-10 years to amount.
Yeah. Being
in their prime. And Conor McGregor was just, he was in, fought the best, beat them all, and then out.
Dipped.
that Jose Aldo, McGregor,
13 seconds.
That was revolutionary stuff because he went into that as the underdog, right? Talking so much trash, and he got in his head clearly. He knew exactly what was going to do.
Aldo hadn't been beaten for 10 years.
And just did it
a decade. I saw it the other day. His trainer's reaction, and he literally just like crumbles and cries. Hi.
It's an order.
It's an order.
Hello, Maurice. I'll help you.
Can I get green tea first? Honestly, though, his come up is ridiculous. If you think if you've done his own research, he literally came from nothing as well. Yeah. But it's mad. The underdog mentality he carried as an Irishman in the UFC, unbelievable. And he came through.
The iconic words of "I did not come here to participate. I came
to take over."
To take over.
He just has the charisma. Like everything about him is so entertaining, and he changed the game. Like literally, I'm pretty sure. Like when he obviously went out for a while. I didn't fight for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Views went down, whatever. As soon as he comes back, everything explodes again.
Do we think a potential fight between Jake Paul and Conor McGregor could actually happen?
I think it could.
Yeah.
They've been going back and forth on Twitter and kind of in a way.
I can see it, but I am so unsure who would win.
You think?
Yeah,
I think Conor doesn't need to though.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
The guy's got $1 billion
No,
whiskey.
It's not even that. Yeah, but it's not even that.
He's got
full Floyd, mate. He doesn't need to come back into boxing to fight Jake Paul.
I think it could happen, but
it could, but I don't think
if he did, then that's going to imply he actually cares about Jake Paul somewhat.
He doesn't, bro. There's no reason for him to.
That's what Jake wants, though. He's been doing the maddest stuff.
He's
McGregor
talking to bad people, mate.
McGregor tweeted out the other day something about YouTube boxing or something like that, and he's basically saying fighters are better than YouTube boxing. And Jake Paul quote tweeted it saying Jack Daniels better than proper.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It would be a very entertaining press conference.
Oh, it would, wouldn't it?
If you got into this point of the video, I do implore you to subscribe.
Subscribe. No, seriously, subscribe.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode.
No, we don't. Subscribe.
There we go. And have a lovely day.